close your eyes and let your mind soften for just a moment. Tonight, you don't have to solve anything. The Blue Hammock is already waiting. You are lying in your own bed right now, and your body is heavier than you realized. The day has asked a lot of you, and somewhere underneath the tiredness, there is a familiar thought moving through you. The thought that you should be further along by now, more consistent, more disciplined, more steady in the ways that matter to you. You've been working on yourself for a while, and still there are days when the old patterns come back. You don't have to hold that thought right now. You can simply let it rest beside you as you soften into the bed. Let your breath slow down a little. Let your shoulders drop. Let the weight of the day settle somewhere outside of you for a while. And little by little, the room around you begins to change. The ceiling softens. The sounds of your home loosen and drift, replaced by something cooler, older, saltier. You are in a small room above a narrow street. Stone walls, a wooden floor, a window cracked open to the night air. Outside, the cobblestones of Ericeira glisten faintly, with a light mist that has settled since midnight. The Atlantic is somewhere below, not visible yet from here, but you can hear it. A low, steady roar moving through the walls of the building, through the stone and the old plaster, into the soles of your feet. There is a small desk near the window. A notebook lies open there, pages soft in the dim light from a single lamp. You can see marks on the pages, checked days and blank ones, notes to yourself in your own handwriting. Evidence of effort, real effort and real imperfection, sitting side by side on the same page. The cool air coming through the window touches your face and hands. It smells of salt and damp stone, and something faintly mineral from the path below. Raven is already awake. She has been watching you from the foot of the bed, patient and still. She stretches now, long and slow, and then moves toward the door with quiet purpose. She glances back at you once. Not pushing, not demanding. Just ready, if you are. You reach for your jacket on the chair. The fabric is cool under your hands. You pull it on slowly and follow her to the door. The ocean keeps the same slow rhythm. Steady, steady. The door opens onto a narrow landing, and a few stone steps lead down to the street. The lane is quiet in the way that only happens in the hours before dawn. The cobblestones are dark and slightly shiny, catching what little light remains from the street lamps. A few warm amber pools on the wet stone, and between them, soft shadow. The buildings close in on both sides. White walls with blue painted edges. Windows dark and shuttered. The town is sleeping. Even the cats have gone somewhere quiet for the night. Raven's paws tap lightly on the stone as she moves ahead of you down the lane. You follow, your own steps slower, adjusting to the slight downhill slope of the street. From somewhere ahead, a faint hiss of a coffee machine starting up inside a small cafe. A sliver of warm light beneath a door. The earliest beginning of a human morning, still hours away from being seen. You breathe in through your nose, salt and cool stone, and just the faintest trace of bread and coffee, drifting through the crack. The lane curves, and as you follow it around, the buildings fall away on one side. The sky opens up above a low wall, dark and wide, with a faint grey blue beginning to thin the horizon far to the east. And there, on the wall beside the path, is a panel of old decorative tile, blue and white, the letters worn but still readable in the lamplight. Conhece-te a ti mesmo. Know yourself. You stop for a moment. Those two words settle somewhere in your chest, without making any noise. Not a demand, more like a quiet invitation you've been walking toward for a long time. Raven has stopped too, a few paces ahead, looking back at you. Her dark eyes catch a bit of the lamplight. She waits, easy and unhurried, the way she always does. You run your fingers lightly over the stone wall as you continue down the path. The surface is rough and cool, damp and warm air. The path begins to slope more steeply now, curving toward the cliff edge. The sound of the sea grows, not louder exactly, but deeper, more present, filling the air the way a low note fills a quiet room. You are thinking, as you walk, about the notebook on the desk upstairs, the checked days, the gaps, the small victories you almost didn't notice, and the days you'd rather forget. That is not failure. That is the record of someone doing the work, imperfect and ongoing, the way all real work is. The cliff edge comes into view, framed by the dark outline of the land dropping away. Below, the Atlantic stretches out, barely visible in the dark, but unmistakably vast. You reach the stone railing and wrap your hands around it. The metal is cold and solid under your palms. Far below, the waves roll in slow and heavy, white foam tracing the edge of each break before it disappears. The ocean keeps the same slow rhythm, steady, steady. You stand at the railing for a while, just watching the water move below. The waves come in long, unhurried lines, rolling toward the cliffs with the patience of something that has been doing this for a very long time. You think about the last few years, not all at once, but in small flashes, the way memory comes when you're standing somewhere quiet at night. There are things you used to do that you no longer do, reactions that once took over completely, and now sometimes pause for a breath first, habits that didn't stick at first, and then eventually did, without you fully noticing. And there are things you still struggle with. Of course there are. That doesn't undo what you've already changed. Self-mastery doesn't arrive all at once. It builds the way the sea shapes stone, through repetition, through small, consistent contact, through patience stretched across years. Raven is sitting beside you now, close enough that you can feel her warmth. She is looking out at the water too, her head tilted just slightly. She has never once judged you for the missed days. She only knows that you're here now, walking, showing up again. The path to the cove begins just to your left, a narrow trail winding down the face of the cliff, through low scrub and scattered rock. You take it slowly, one step at a time, your hand trailing the rough surface of the cliff wall. The sound of the waves changes as you descend. The open roar of the cliff top softens into something more contained, a deeper, more rhythmic surge and pull, echoing within the cove below. Raven moves ahead of you on the path, her paws finding each stone with quiet certainty. She has walked paths like this before. At the bottom, the cove opens up in front of you. Pale sand and scattered rocks. the water moving in measured surges over the darker stone near the waterline. The sky above the cove is still dark, but the horizon to the east has begun to hold a faint silver thread. Your footprints press into the damp sand as you walk toward the water, and behind them, Raven's smaller prints alongside yours. You notice the sand closer to the water is firmer, packed smooth by the retreating tide. Higher up the beach it loosens, gives a little under each step. You walk to the edge of the water and stop. A wave slides in, cool and quiet, and just barely reaches your feet before drawing itself back. You stand there and you breathe. In through the nose, the clean cold salt. Out through the mouth, slow and even. You think about what it means to know yourself, not as a finished project, but as an ongoing conversation you've been having with yourself for years. You know some of your patterns now, the things that pull at your attention and your energy, the triggers that still catch you off guard sometimes, and the ones you've learned to see coming. Knowing yourself doesn't mean controlling yourself completely. It means understanding enough to work with what you are, and sometimes gently against it. The wave comes in again, cool around your feet, and then drawn back by something steady and unseen. The ocean keeps the same slow rhythm, steady, steady. A flat rock sits just above the waterline, smooth and wide, worn by years of wind and rain. You make your way to it and sit down. The rock is cool and solid beneath you. That firmness moves up through your body, something grounding about it, something real. Raven lies down close beside you, her head resting on her paws, her eyes half closed toward the water. Her breathing is slow and even. You look out at the Atlantic and you let your mind settle. Not push things away, just settle. The way sediment settles to the bottom when you stop stirring. There is one area of your life where you want more steadiness. You know what it is without having to say it. It's been with you for a while. This particular place of friction. You don't need to overhaul everything. You don't need a new system or a perfect plan. You just need one small, repeatable thing that moves in the right direction. One quiet choice, made again tomorrow, and the day after. Not because it feels dramatic, but because small and consistent is how real change moves. The waves roll in, one after another, each one unremarkable on its own. But the shape of the cove was made by exactly that, unremarkable repetition over a very long time. You think about who you want to keep becoming. Not a perfect version, not a controlled or rigid one, just someone more aligned, more often, with the things that genuinely matter to you. That person is not a stranger. You have already been them, in small moments, more times than you've given yourself credit for. The question you carry softly is simple. What is one thing that person does that you can practice once tomorrow? Not a grand gesture, just one move, chosen clearly, before the day asks anything else of you. You let that settle without forcing an answer. The right thing usually surfaces when you stop reaching for it. Raven shifts slightly beside you, pressing a little closer. Her warmth is steady against your leg. You look back now, not with regret, but with a kind of honest seeing. Who you were before you started doing any inner work, and who you are sitting on this rock, in the pre-dawn dark of a Portuguese cove, still willing to walk and reflect and try. The gap between those two is not small. It was built one day at a time, one small choice at a time, often when no one was watching. That is the work. That is what it actually looks like. And you are already on this path. You have been for a while. Your only task is to keep walking it. Not perfectly, but honestly and often. A wave breaks against a rock further along the cove, with a deep, low sound, and then it rolls away. The sky to the east has brightened just slightly, a thin band of silver along the edge of the water. Dawn is coming, unhurried and certain, the way it always does. The ocean keeps the same slow rhythm, steady, steady. After a while you stand, slow and easy, your body carrying the solidity of the rock up through your legs. Raven rises beside you, stretches once, and turns toward the path. You look once more at the water before you follow her, your footprints and hers, pressed into the damp sand near the waterline, the edges already softening as the tide eases back in. Little by little, the tide will cover them, and the beach will be smooth again, ready for the next set of steps. You climb back up the cliff path slowly, one hand trailing the stone, your breath a little deeper in the cool air. Raven moves ahead, confident and quiet, her dark shape soft against the grey stone. At the top, you pass the tile sign again. Know yourself. You don't stop this time, but you carry it with you as you walk. The cobblestone lane is just as you left it, still and damp, the lamps beginning to feel a little less necessary as the sky slowly brightens. The cafe light is a little warmer now, the sounds of a small morning starting somewhere inside. A cup placed on a counter, a chair being pulled out. You pass through it all quietly, climbing back toward the guest house at the top of the lane. The room is exactly as you left it. The small lamp, the notebook open on the desk, the window still letting in a thread of cool air. You sit at the desk for a moment. You look at the notebook without judgment. The checked days and the gaps, all of it sitting together on the same page, honest and plain. You think of 3 ways you have grown, not 3 perfect things, just 3 real ones. You hold them quietly, one at a time, without rushing past them. And then, beneath them, one small thing for tomorrow. Simple and specific. Not a promise of transformation, just one honest step forward. You close the notebook gently. You stand, cross to the bed, and lie down. The window lets in a little more light now, the sky outside a softer shade of dark than before. Dawn is working its way in, slow and unhurried. Your body settles into the mattress, carrying the memory of the rock beneath the cove, the cool solidity of it. That feeling stays with you, grounded and calm. Raven settles near the foot of the bed, her breathing already slow. She has walked with you all the way there and back, without needing any reason beyond the walk itself. That is loyalty to the practice, showing up again, not because it's easy, but because it matters. You feel that same quality in yourself now, quiet and solid, running beneath the tiredness like a steady current. You are not trying to become someone else. You are becoming more fully yourself, little by little, one ordinary day after another. The ocean keeps the same slow rhythm, steady, steady. The room softens around you. The sound of the Atlantic is still there, low and steady, coming up through the old stone walls. Wave in, wave out. The ceiling fan turns slowly overhead, and the cool air moves across your hands and face. Your breath has found its own quiet pace. In and out. You don't need to carry the whole journey tonight. You only need to carry this breath, and then the next one. The blue hammock sways somewhere below in the garden, between two old posts near the stone wall, moving gently in the pre-dawn breeze, slow and easy, the way it always does. You don't need to go to it. Just knowing it's there is enough. The sky outside the window is a shade lighter, the very first edge of dawn, quiet and slow, beginning its work the same way it always has. Raven breathes near the foot of the bed, low and steady, already deep in rest, already practicing the simplest form of trust. Your body is heavy now, the good kind of heavy, the kind that comes after honest effort and a long walk in the dark. Your shoulders settle, your jaw loosens, your hands rest open at your sides, soft and still. The waves keep coming in below the cliffs, patient and unchanged. They will be there tomorrow too, doing exactly the same thing, steady and unhurried. Little by little, the mind lets the day go. Little by little, the body releases what it's been holding. You are already on the path. You have been for a long time. And tomorrow, you will take one more step. Nothing more than that. Steady. Steady. The Atlantic moves below in its slow, ancient way. The town sleeps around you, the cobblestones quiet, the lamps burning low. Wave in. Wave out. Raven breathes. And you drift, little by little, further from the surface of the day, into something deep and warm and quiet. The horizon holds its thin silver line. Dawn is coming, slow and certain, as it always does. For now, there is only this, the sound of the sea, and rest.